Hey everybody, good morning and welcome back to the brewery. This is Adam Makes Beer. My name's Adam, and today we are kind of in the middle of the process of doing one of our coffee beers called Leaded. We have a handful of different coffee beers that we do here. We're going to have Excalibur going up our big coffee Imperial Stout. Before too long, that might not be relevant for this video, but we do a fair amount of coffee beer here, and we always treat that as essentially a cold steep, okay? Which means that coffee is getting bagged up and put into a bright tank for contact time cold, and then we move the full contents of that bright tank to the next in order to finally clarify, carbonate, and package that beer. The reason we do that is I don't want stratification happening with a whole bunch of intense coffee flavor and aroma kind of settling to the bottom of the tank, and kind of make sure it's well mixed in. So let's take a look inside this bright tank that we just opened up, and we're gonna get ready to clean, and we'll see how we handle the process. All right, so we're zooming into the bright tank here right now, and you can see we have some yeast and whatnot. But I have, and you can kind of see it is cool on both sides. You can see right there is the outside of the carb stone. There's the inside of the carb stone. And we have our coffee bagged up and tied onto that spear of the carbonation stone. I don't have the carbonation stone fully assembled. It's just the spear going in. And then what I do is I'll take this bag right here, and I will put, you can see right here, there's a triclover clamp on there. There's that triclover clamp that I have on the spear. And the reason I do that is it's just something I can attach ahead of time. And so we will take that nylon mesh bag, we'll soak it in iodine to sanitize it. It's usually in there for like an hour anyways. We'll shake that out. We'll put it inside of a sanitized bucket, and then I will fill it with coffee, tie a knot in the top of it, and then for me, I don't know why, I just like doing it. I take a triclover clamp with a gasket inside of it because I feel like, well, maybe it might cling a little bit better. I'll take a sanitized clamp and gasket, put the gasket inside of it, and then tighten it up. And then I'll tie the nylon mesh bag through this so it's attached to this. And then I feel like when I slide this over, I can actually show you with the spear. I have a disassembled carb rig here. I feel like when I put that gasket inside of it, it gives me a little grip against this because I don't want this sliding off as I rack that beer from one tank to the other. Also, on the end of our carb stone, there is kind of like a larger metal washer that goes on the end that screws on. And so I feel like that might help it from slipping off, because I just don't want that bag of coffee floating around in there. And then when I'm transferring out of it, maybe having it hit the port that I'm transferring out of. But anyways, we will sanitize the whole tank. The spear will already be in there. And then I try to be quick with it. Unless you have fancier equipment, this is really the only way I figured out to do it up to spec. So I will run sanitizer on the tank. Afterwards, I will ISO the heck out of the door, and then I'll open that up, and quickly I'll go in and tie this. I'll just slide this rig right on here with the bag hanging off of it. I'll slide that right on here, and then I'll ISO the door real quick and then close it back up, and then I start my purge on that tank. Just a couple of notes with this. I think it's really, really important, especially since I'm moving this beer twice. You always want to purge really well in the bright tank, and anytime you're moving a finished beer in there, I do tend to purge like a little bit longer. I typically will follow the recommendations of an MBAA podcast that I watched that suggested gas coming through your regulator 5 psi at essentially a half hour for every 5 barrels for the size of the tank. I don't have equipment to test that stuff, so that's what I do. And so I will usually extend that out to 2 hours to make sure we're really, really purged well. And then I'll do the same thing 4 days later. I'll leave the beer on that coffee for 4 days, and then I'll transfer it to another sanitized 2-hour purge tank. For us, they're 15 barrel tanks. And that's kind of the deal with what we're doing with coffee. That's my process for it. And Yeah, it's one of those deals where you do the best you can with what you have, and that's kind of what we're doing with it. If there's other stuff that you're doing with coffee that you like the approach better, please leave it in the comments down below. I'd be super interested to hear. Again, this is all a process where we get better over the years, we try out different techniques, and as different equipment becomes available to us, we adjust our processes. So anyways, that's what I'm doing with it. Hope you have a great day. Bye.